Good evening and welcome back to Chapel FM here in the heart of Seacroft. This is the second half of the Delta Saxophone Quartet's set this evening, and I'm here with Chris and David, and we're just going to have a little bit of a chat about how you work together. Chris, do you want to?
Lovely. Yeah, I mentioned in the first half about how we sort of created repertoire for the Delta Sax Quartet, and David, I mentioned the man from Lancashire, dared it into Yorkshire this evening to hear, and you heard it too, his piece Swan. But in the second half, we mentioned about new commissions and world premieres even, and we're going to, the very first film you're going to see in the second half is going to be a new music by David, put to a crazy French short ride in a fast machine. David, do you want to say a little bit about it and how we've got to this position in life?
I can do that, yes. It was actually Tim from the Quartet who put me onto this film, but it's the most crazy film you've ever seen. It's a guy called Claude Lelouch, a French film director, who got up one morning and got in his Mercedes and strapped a film camera on the front and then drove through Paris at about 80 miles an hour. Long way up one-way streets, through red lights, dodging pedestrians, dodging the pigeons, and well, I won't spoil it, no spoilers, but it's an amazing piece of film. All you hear on the soundtrack is the noise of the engine, and we felt that what it really needed was the sound of a saxophone quartet. So Chris invited me to write a little score for it. That's about 9 minutes, and it takes you on a crazy journey through Paris. It actually takes you past the cemetery on Montmartre, where Adolphe Sax is buried. So, the inventor of the saxophone. So, I give him a little bit of Belgian music at that point to honour Adolphe Sax.
That's great, David. We were talking just in the interval when you were all enjoying the finest Yorkshire tea about composers writing premiere pieces. What happens after a premiere? And it was a very good question, because quite often with new music, it's a big race to get your piece performed, and then there are whole festivals of first performances, and then they sort of wither on the vine. We've been lucky with Swan, and we have incorporated that into the quartet's repertoire.
I've been very lucky with Swan, because you played it so many times.
Rendezvous, I'm hoping, is going to be similar to that, where we're going to keep pushing it out there. But how do you survive? How do you survive when you've written something, put your heart and soul into it, and then it disappears off the radar?
A lot of composers will tell you it's very difficult to get second performances. A piece is commissioned, and then, having had its premiere, no one wants to play it again, because, as Chris said, it's the premiere which is seen to be important. But actually, just a bit of persistence, and I think if you write good enough pieces, and if you get involved with projects like Project Flicks, then as the project develops and goes around the country or goes around Europe or whatever, your piece goes with it. So that tends to generate second and third and fourth performances. And, you know, working with the Delta Sax Quartet has been fabulous, because Swan has been recorded on CD, and as Chris was saying, it was played in Sicily last weekend. How would my music get to Sicily otherwise? It's only by being part of this project that it takes it abroad and gets it so many fantastic performances.
Well, we're going to move on to Project Flicks now, and I hope you've had your popcorn and you're ready for a cinematic realisation in the second half. Both films are actually French films, so maturing like a fine red wine, maybe. And with no further ado, we'd like to welcome you to Project Flicks, and thanks for coming back for the second half.